Those intersections that have red light cameras that snap your picture if you run a red light, not because you're smiling, but because you run a red light. AAA in New York found that the yellow lights at some of those intersections are shorter, giving drivers less time before the light turns red. Let's welcome Robert Sinclair. He's a manager at AAA in New York. Robert, did something make you all suspicious about this?
Well, in a program that's supposed to be about safety, if the yellow lights aren't timed properly, it becomes less about safety and more about revenue enhancement. Drivers should be given sufficient time to make that go, no-go decision when the light turns yellow so that they can make it through the intersection based on whatever the prevailing rate of speed might be at a particular intersection. If they're not given enough time, they wind up hitting the brakes.
No, Robert, I understand all that. We'll get to that in a second. What I'm asking is there something that made you all suspicious to even check this in the first place is what I'm asking.
Okay, I apologize. No, we got complaints from our members and saying that they were getting red light camera tickets, and they complained that the yellow lights were too short, that they didn't have enough time to get through based on the speed that they were going. And it's supposed to be about safety, so we went out and actually timed a lot of the red light camera intersections, and we found that 100% of the time the yellows were too short, particularly given the prevailing rate of speed at particular intersections.
So these drivers were right.
Yes, they were right, and they're getting $50 tickets as a result. And we're talking about a program that, since it went into effect back in the late 90s, has made hundreds of millions of dollars for the city.
So are these lights considerably shorter than at the non-camera intersections? A little bit, a lot? I mean, can you quantify it at all?
Oh, in some cases, 0.2 of a second, 0.3 of a second, as much as a half second too quick. And based on ITE standards, the Institute for Transportation Engineers, you should get between 1 to 1.2, 1.3 seconds for each 10 miles per hour, but of the prevailing rate of speed at a given intersection, not the speed limit. Now, it's no excuse for drivers that they're actually driving above the speed limit, but if the program is for safety, it should be based on the speed that people are actually traveling, not the desired speed. And it seems that the city is being very lazy in instituting a basic 3 seconds for all of its traffic lights, but we found that for the most part, the amber light times weren't even 3 seconds. And, you know, you're giving people less time than what they actually need in order to get through an intersection based on not only the speed, but also the size of a given intersection.
Robert, let me ask you this, okay? You say you think the city's being lazy. You say that if this is supposed to be about safety and not raising revenue, that shouldn't be the first priority. Have you talked to the city about this?
Well, we'd like to see the numbers from the city. I mean, there's supposed to be reports that are issued about the effectiveness of a red light camera program, particularly as New York City is considering the expansion of its program right now. We think the program, as currently constituted, needs to be updated and cleaned up and brought up to transportation standards. Now, there are no laws that affect this, but there are standards, and the city would say that their yellow light cameras are set up according to particular all to the same standard, I should say, but it's a bad standard. It's not the accepted standard used by transportation engineers.